Now joining us is Bernstein, who is the Executive Director at the Centre for Development and Enterprise, just to share their expectations on the President's address. Good evening, Anne. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. So some say the SONA presents a critical opportunity to address South Africa's service delivery issues, as we've just seen now with the community of Oliver and Houtbosch and others have to contend with. Honestly, those issues are almost similar to other issues in other communities. So it's one story across the board. They all say this is an opportunity to just have the President, especially now with this new co-governance structure, to just address finally how they plan to address these issues of service delivery. Your expectations?
Well, good evening. The GNU was formed almost 9 months ago, and what's really striking is how little policy reform from the previous administration is being contemplated. They were formed without an agreement on a program of action, and the promised policy agenda laying out priorities for action by the GNU has yet to be agreed. So we are saying that there are some very important issues that the President needs to deal with on Thursday. We're looking for actions. We're looking for different policies that represent the GNU and not just a continuation of previous government policies, which have led the country into the terrible situation we are now in.
You touched on a very important part of this, because many had been discussing that what we've essentially been seeing now is that you've got ministers deployed from different political parties, but in essence, you're still seeing basically the same policies. So it is a continuation where some of them might find themselves in a situation where they are advancing perhaps policies formulated within the African National Congress at best.
That's true. There have been a few green shoots in the performance of critical agencies like Eskom, Transnet and Home Affairs, but we are not seeing a new approach. We're not seeing new priorities for action yet by the state. Let me emphasize two that I think are really important. The first is, if you look at the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, which under the previous government, the Minister Patel, you have to say this department in the main has failed. We have less investment, we have declining manufacturing, we have less employment. And so that department and with the President's leadership as well as the Minister, we need a completely new approach. We need to know what old policies are being ditched and what new policies are being adopted. The second big issue I'll highlight tonight is the National Prosecuting Authority, which has failed to successfully prosecute any senior politicians or business people seriously involved in massive state capture. And we are calling for the President to appoint a retired judge to conduct an inquiry into the leadership, the performance, the structure and independence of the NPA. And we are saying that it is beyond comprehension that in August 2023, the head of the NPA asked the President to suspend a senior member of the NPA. To this date, nearly 18 months later, he has not replied. It is also beyond belief that the Department of Justice is not giving the National Prosecuting Authority full access to the Zondo Commission archives. And we're saying Thursday, in the SONA speech, we would expect the President to deal with these two issues, which are absolutely vital for the rule of law and for South Africa's ability to start to grow and rebuild a state that we need for growth, service delivery, and more employment.
All right, Anne, thank you very much for your insights this evening. That's Anne Bernstein, who's Executive Director at the Centre for Development and Enterprise, speaking to us there.